3, 2, 1. Yo, what up? Welcome back to another video. This is the Better Things to Do podcast. It's your boy, White Pasty Bolas, aka Yuli. Okay. Then we got your boy, Dark Chocolate Bolas, aka Jack. And last but definitely not least,
$20 names.
my Harry Bolas, and Solis. Once again, this is the Better Things to Do podcast. Did you like my nicknames for today?
They're very appropriate to us. I am very chocolatey now that like the heat's picking up at work.
I'm very paste. The most, not the paste.
I guess I'm hairy.
You're more hair than man.
And I kept the theme. See, there's always a theme.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
All right, so for today, you said you wanted to
I said something.
Well, we said we wanted to talk about kind of the outfits or kind of styles or your favorite type of clothing, clothwear,
Yeah. Brands.
Clothing providers.
Warmth providers.
Cold weather garments.
Vestiges?
Vessels.
No, vessels.
Vessels would be like our bodies.
Wait, what's vestiges?
Vestiges.
It sounds like
sounds like the disease that's in the chest area.
Vestiges. What is vestiges? I've heard that word before. It sounds like in Spanish vestiduras.
Vestiges. What is vestiges?
Vestiges.
Sound it out, my boy. Wait, let the world see you spell out words.
Fine.
You said nah, fam.
Nah, chill, fam. Chill.
Iridocyclitis.
What was the word I was trying to spell?
Vestiges.
The G's. Vestiges, right?
Vestiges of divergence.
A trace of something that is disappearing or no longer exists. I mean, clothes are technically vestiges.
But I still spelled it wrong.
A trace of something. Well, I mean, clothing is vestiges if you're doing your job right.
True. If the clothes are doing their job.
No, you're the one who has to make the clothes vestiges.
Yes.
Because you got to get the clothes off.
It is your duty.
Your duty.
Can I get a vest?
A vestiges one time.
Vestigiology.
The study of
vestiges. Vestigianometry.
What if I look up a synonym? All right. Vestiges.
Why not just vestometry?
I was thinking
Vestigy. The study of vest.
Study of vest. Okay, well here are some similar words.
Remnants? Is that
remnants, remainder, fragment, relic, echo, indication, sign. So
some poetic shit right there. Girl, I will make your clothes echo.
I will make your girl.
Oof. I gotta write that one down.
So would what's his name?
$10
Trey Songz. Would his nickname be Mr. Vestige Your Girl? Because he's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Well,
so Mr.
But
he's not making it disappear. He's not making it disappear
from your life.
Yeah, but I mean, she still exists.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Vestige Your Girl?
More Ted Bundy is more of Mr. Vestige Your Girl. That's more of a Mr. Vestige Your Girl.
Too real. Hey, did you watch that documentary?
Which one?
I've
watched many documentaries.
There was one on Netflix.
Yes,
that got
the one on Netflix
big.
when Zac Efron played.
Oh no, that one was trash.
That was trash. Oh, okay.
Because they don't focus on what he actually did. They make him like a sympathetic character. Mm-hmm. It's like another romantic comedy. He just happens to kill people.
It's crazy that people romanticize criminals.
Yeah.
Or just
especially serial killers.
Yeah. But I was gonna say just the whole like horror movies and stuff like that, like
Because
where people are dying and scary.
Because in a way, it makes sense. Because Ted Bundy was like a womanizer, and the chicks or the ladies that he picked up would have probably seen him in that light. Would have probably actually seen him as like a sweetheart. Like they probably. The way you would see Zac Efron in that movie is likely the way they saw Ted Bundy.
Oh, so maybe the whole point of that movie was to put you in the girl's perspective.
I guess, but that sounds like it sounds like too upper thinking for what I think
you
it
just
actually
want to
was.
like show me what he did. You wanted like a documentary, not like
Yeah, because ultimately, like, you would want to see him, like, understand why the girls trusted him. But then see the dark side. And I think in that Efron movie, there wasn't enough of the dark side.
Okay.
Like, it was kind of just like, it's there. We know who he is. But we're not going to address it.
Because I don't know a lot about the guy, but from what I do know is that he was, like, a good talker.
Yeah.
That he was able to finesse his way into a lot of situations.
He was very smooth talking. Okay. Which is why, like... I think if they had went with the movie, basically if you wanted to go the route they went, but then, you know, towards the end of the movie, the last act of the movie, really show him as like the monster he really was. Instead, he was just kind of like, "Don't worry, baby, I'll be back." And then like the one fool in there who's like, "He's no good for you. I'm good for you. I'm your real home." Like it was just like, It's like High School Music. Only one of them's a serial killer.
I never saw any of those movies either.
The High School Musical?
No.
What the heck?
That was the first.
Childhood? What were we watching?
I had a childhood, not that childhood.
Yeah,
I was more into video games.
Yeah.
Listening to rock.
Robin Big.
I did watch that.
Jersey Shore.
Watch that.
Holy D. You know, oddly enough, I saw that show.
Jersey Shore?
I didn't know the cultural impact this show had because I never really had anyone to talk to me about the show. But I saw the show and I kind of saw it as like, there's nothing else to watch, so I'll watch this. And then it turned out that it was like a big cultural thing.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it really was. The first season, I think, is still peak season.
Yes.
The first season. The second season was like, it's Jersey Shore, but y'all in Miami. Like, and then it from there, for me, it started going downhill after like pretty much season 3 and on. Well, season 3 is back in the Jersey Shore, and then 4 is in Italy.
Yeah.
Italy.
Because they're all Italian, right?
Technicality.
Not all of them
The
are.
only true
Guidos,
one,
no?
I think the only
No,
true-
here's the thing: is some of them are Guidos and some of them are actually Guidos. Some of them are like the Chile.
Yeah, Ronnie. Ronnie's like Chilean, I think.
I thought it was Snooki.
That's the big guy, no?
Isn't Snooki like
It
Latino
might be
technically?
both. It might be both.
Wait,
There's some. I think like Jay Well's like Irish.
Ron is the tall, like, beefy guy, right?
Well, I don't think he's tall, but he is beefy.
Stop.
Wait, he's Latino? He's Hispanic?
Okay, I might have mixed him up. It might be Snooki.
Oh,
Well,
I can see her. I can see her.
I don't know
She's a brown girl.
Yeah. I don't know which one's which, but I know that
Technology.
not all of them are Guidos. Some of them are actually Guidos.
They should have been
Some of them are
Jersey Shore.
Some of them are like Acapulco Shore. There's actually that.
Dude.
That actually is a thing.
Oh yeah, it was at the top. Chilean. Wait, East Side Puerto Rican. What?
East Side.
Stateside. I'm assuming maybe
Oh,
New
stateside.
York. Stateside Puerto Rican.
Font's too small.
Forget
See, look,
about it.
Jersey Shore cast is barely over half. Whatever.
Did you see how they spell "forget about it"?
Yeah, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Wait, put it on the screen for the peoples.
For the toots.
Forget about it.
Wow.
Dude, I gotta start writing it like that.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Tit. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
JWoww is Spanish and Irish.
Yeah. But not all of them are full Italian, and JWoww fairly isn't even Italian at all. Yeah, so I think it's just that they were all like probably born in like Jersey, and they just
They all had the Joyzy thing,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what they were like. Y'all are just Italians. All of you are Italians."
Oh, see, I saw CC right there. Ronnie is half Spanish, half Italian.
Yeah, see.
Oh, Snooki is Chilean.
See. So, referred to herself as half Spanish and said she was adopted.
Yeah, so I think, yeah. But then, I mean, they were born in Jersey, so they probably all have the Jersey culture.
Is that what it sounds like? Okay.
Joyzy?
You garbage. Run! Stop it, run, stop! But then she would like run towards Ron and be like, stop, and then like Ron's like closing the door, like get the fuck away, and then you just hear like, stop it, Ron, and someone's like pulling her back.
But she kept going to him.
She kept going to him.
Yeah. Sammy Sweetheart, my brother.
I hated her.
Yeah.
I hated her.
No lie, now, because they brought back the show, what's it called? Jersey Shore Family Reunion. And
she didn't show up, no?
No, they brought her back.
Oh, okay.
No,
dragged
sorry.
her in.
They didn't bring Sammy Sweetheart back, so she's out. But they brought back Angelina.
Oh, yeah.
I liked her better.
Yes,
because in the first show, the cast hated her. Dang, she's funny. Like, she, like, made, like, drama. But now she's back and she's actually like pretty cool, and like people, they included her in the squad.
I always liked Angelina. I was sad when she left. I was like, I like her. Yeah, she was my fave.
She's not too bad now.
She was my favorite one. And then they bullied her out of there. So I was like, that's not.
And to think about it, during that Jersey Shore like era, that's where they kind of like started wearing like the swag, like brands and clothing. Like around that time, no?
Weren't they wearing like Ed Hardy?
Or maybe it was like the end of the Ed Hardy into like the YOLO.
Well, wouldn't they? Well, they were wearing like the snapbacks, no?
The snapbacks.
They wore snapbacks?
The collas.
I know they were always like fresh cut, gym tan laundry, DTF, GTL, grenades. Grenade. Cabs are here.
Yeah.
See, I don't know why. Why didn't we do that at Vegas?
The Uber's here.
it doesn't roll the same way. Uber's here.
Uber's here. Yeah, buddy.
See,
should have said that.
I should have said it because I was the one yelling. Remember the cue?
Oh yeah.
You guys should have been like, the caddy is here.
The
caddy.
The lift is here.
Alright, for next year's Vegas trip, we'll bring it back. Cabs are here.
This year was fun.
What's it about? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say to tie it in with the Jersey Shore, I understand why they go to clubs now.
Yes.
I understand now. Before I was like, what's the point? Yeah,
it's just so hot, a room full of hot, sweaty people. Loud
yeah. But like once you've actually experienced what they experienced, you're like, I see the allure of this. But I'm the type of person that wouldn't want to overdo it.
Yes.
So the fact that
they would go
I don't know how often they would go, but it made it seem like they went out every night or every other night.
To like every night. Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know if I would have, because I think the Vegas trip is special because we do it once a year.
Yes.
It's hopefully will be an annual thing.
I hope so.
And that's cool. I wouldn't mind doing Vegas once a year and having that experience because that just makes it special. It makes it like, dude, it's that time. Tis the season. The way the Jersey Shore was doing it, like so often, I feel like after a while I would be like, man, fuck the clubs. I wouldn't go back. I'm chilling at home.
But I mean,
or I would be the DJ. I'd be like Pauly D.
I don't mind maybe doing that maybe like once a month. Cause I like that, like I like the music. That's pretty much what I like. Yeah. So, like I just want to like be able to like be.
I am now working towards my career as a Vegas residency.
Dude, like if you learn how to like DJ, dude, I think you could like, cause you make your own tracks, but then you like DJ.
I have turntable. Well, I have turntables. They're like vinyl though.
But yeah, cause
I need like a digital one.
You make your tracks, but then so you could like instead of just like pressing play.
Isn't that what all they do?
I guess they do, but like. Just so you look cool.
Well, there's some people that actually mix their shit.
Yeah, I guess
they're the unicorns, but
I guess.
But dude, if you learn how to like,
but like, I still don't respect that as much as like as actual disc jockeys, and like when like the concept of beat juggling, where they basically have like 2 vinyl records and they have like different songs, but you have to actually manage the timing of it. Yeah. So one song is playing and you have to stop it right as you let go of this vinyl to let this track play without skipping a beat. Still on it and then still scratching and shit. And then like they have like little pieces of tape on the vinyl, and that's for your cue as to where your samples are in the general area. But you have to kind of know where in the grooves is that specific sample that you want. So then you move the needle and go, while this song is playing, you're right, and you're doing all this shit. That to me is more impressive than anything that would be playing at Omnia.
Yeah, I went through a little phase, like a week or two of watching nothing but DJing videos, and yeah, those guys with like the vinyls, it's fucking intense.
Watch The Get Down on Netflix. Okay, it's all about how rap like started and the come up, and how the disc jockey was like the important one, and they show you how they did it, and like it kind of like it's a cool way of how to show like a general audience like how they actually did it and stuff.
It's legit. And just kind of so like with skill. just like with everything, it just became more and more minimalist, and to the point where it's like now they're just turning knobs. I'm sure it has its chiste, but it doesn't compare to the old shit.
Now like they have buttons where like you have your preset samples of like.
I mean that's so cool if you have, because the guys who have the drum like pads and they're like adding like their own like beat or like their own stuff. That's pretty cool. I forgot who it is. It might be. Who's the people? Disclosure? I think that's the band. The one that made. No, I'm gonna in my space. I don't keep going.
I know what song you're talking about, but I don't know.
Latch,
I don't know.
Latch, the Sam Smith one. Because I see them play it live, and they're most of the drum stuff
electric.
Yeah, they're like they have the pads and they're like playing the whole time live, but they're all samples.
I guess, but like. When you've watched or listened to the type of music I have, like that's still not impressive to me.
What's also crazy, it's those like button pads, the ones that are like 64 by 64, and they're like doing like full beats, like just remembering where everything's at, like that's I think that's a lot of work.
That's how it is with the what's it called, the teclado, or what is it?
The accordion.
Accordion.
Yeah.
But not the piano one.
The one with the buttons.
Like how do you? It's hard to remember.
It's not that hard because it's like the same concept of.
But it's just like different.
Like you just remember where everything's at, because I started learning how to play accordion, and you just kind of feel it. It's weird. I mean, I guess the same thing like you're a trombone player.
Right.
You feel where all the notes are at. It's kind of the same thing. You kind of remember where everything's at.
I'm sure you can justify it, but like those button thingies, I'm not too impressed by it, because to me it just looks like you're playing Dance Dance Revolution with your fingers.
I can see that.
To me, like or like playing Guitar Hero. Is it impressive? Yeah, but like as a musician, am I impressed? Not really, because I've seen people actually do shit with real instruments, so I'm not impressed by doing this. When I've seen people actually bust their ass and be like,
true. I mean, we all come from a music background.
So like everyone's like, "Oh, dude, fire beats," and I'm like, I guess. It's like if you see someone playing Dance Dance Revolution, do you think they're a real dancer?
You know what the equivalent is to? Like the pads for us, it's the equivalent to like when people play like saxophone over like a popular song. Like a Justin Bieber song, and then they're playing it. If any of you like it, I'm sorry, but I cringe so hard when it's like I don't know, Justin Bieber track playing, and they're playing like the saxophone trying to make it like romantic and shit. And I'm just like, oh, bro, like that's cool. Like so I've seen one, maybe two that are cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like the music background doesn't allow you to enjoy that. But, you know, the regular person might look at that and be like, oh shit, like, that's cool. I know Justin Bieber. I think that's a saxophone. It sounds cool. And
it's just like when you've played, and I know some people might not agree with it, but when you play real music, like with real instruments, and like see like people doing stuff, like say take the saxophone. You can't just blow on a saxophone and have a good tone. You have to work at getting a good tone. Yeah. One can't just pick up a saxophone and have good tone. Someone can pick up those drum pads and have great tone. They don't have to worry about anything. They're just pressing a button.
So then what's your opinion about like guitars or pianos?
Pianos are different. Well, if you do like a real piano that has weighted keys, that's different. Because if it's like the keyboards that we have, it doesn't matter how you strike the key, the timbre's the same. No matter whether you press it lightly or you just pound on the keys, it's still ding ding ding. But if you have weighted keys or on a real piano, depending on how you press the keys is this difference in the sound. That is what makes it impressive, and the fact that you have the pedal, the sustain pedal. Because you try playing with a sustain pedal without making it choppy, that shit is fucking hard. True. That's like my beef with that kind of stuff is like, oh, they're so talented, and like they're coordinated. I would say that they because
can remember stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, good memory.
That's how I see it, because again, a guitar player.
I feel like everyone plays guitar.
Yeah, everyone does.
But not everyone.
But I can't play most of the shit they're playing. And I don't want to include jazz though, because jazz, it's like if you'd think in jazz it would be so like freeform and everyone has their own individual sound and everyone, but literally like as far as jazz guitar, they all sound the same. Like you see, if you ever seen like 4 guitar players playing on a swing chart. They all sound the same. It's the same round tone.
They even like adjust their amps and they to sound the same.
Yeah. That's my beef with jazz guitars, but everyone has like their own sound, but it's not easy to make. Is what I'm getting at. Sure, you can have the same sound, but to actually get that sound is the work. When you just press a button and you have great tone. Is it really? To me, that's not impressive.
And I guess for that, then I guess you could just get into a more technical aspect of like maybe like if you press a key, it's still the same tone every time. Every time you press that same key, it's gonna sound good. And then I guess you go on to the next layer of difficulty, which is like technique and like
or creating a song out of just those. Like samples and stuff.
See, but then at that point, does it become composing or producing? I see it as producing. Because producing, especially like since I've been getting into more commercial and more mainstream music, they're formulaic, and that's my main beef with like just popular music is that there's a formula to it.
It's a recipe.
There's a recipe for it.
You're making caldo.
So. How is it? This is like the dilemma that I have within me. I understand it, but doesn't mean I can't have an opinion about it. I understand that there has to be a formula to it because it's something that they're like, okay, people like this, so let's just keep doing this because people like it. Right? Doesn't mean I have to like it, but it's like a reality of the situation.
You're not gonna not do it.
Yeah, because I understand that that's what it is. I don't have to like it, but I understand that is what it is. You can go online and it'll tell you how to make these songs. Right? Or people that make beats to sell them, there's literally like no chista to it. It's basically like a conveyor belt. Like once you've learned the technique, you can just crank out as many songs as possible, but you're not thinking of it from a musical standpoint. You're thinking of it from a money-making standpoint. So to me, I see it more as like a factory conveyor belt of just cranking out music for the sake of making money. So for me, that's more producing.
Okay.
Right? But like, say someone who does jazz. You can't just pick up a saxophone and play Revenge of the Cow.
True.
Right? You have to work at it. Is it gonna make money? No. Is there
exposure though?
Exposure. There's plenty of exposure. There's tip jars. Is there besides I guess like combo charts, is there really like structures in jazz? Like to the point where they're like formulaic where every song is the same.
I guess I mean,
you can always break it down, but there's no like okay, this is what the horns have to do. Every song has the horns doing this, or every song the trombones are doing this.
But yes, because there's like the trombones are always like playing pads, but then obviously there'll be parts where they could take over the melody. But like trumpets or sax are always like melodies. Trombones are always playing the pads and the harmonies. But then
they're not playing the same thing.
Right.
And every song is playing the same thing.
That's why every song in general still. No?
Well, if you go to like house music, it's literally every song has that. Right?
But every song like jazz song has
that's swing.
But in house music there's different like genres of like house.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That there's a formula to it.
Got it. So
there's like a structure, there's a formula. Like if you say like metal.
Okay.
Right? There's elements that make it metal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no like here's a blueprint to how to make metal and this is how every song has to sound. Is what I'm getting at. Because if you had a trap song and you didn't follow the formula of trap, would it be accepted?
I think yes. Because I mean, like, look at Travis Scott. Like, some of his shit is trap, but not really.
Yeah, they put.
So then it is a trap, though.
They put him under the trap.
Yeah.
Genre, but that's just like because they don't know like what to name it.
Because I mean, like Post Malone too, and then even like I think recently Tyler the Creator he got an Oscar, I think, or a
Grammy,
and then like
for under the rap category.
Yeah,
but he considers his stuff like pop.
Yeah, music. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of borrowed elements. I guess that's why it's kind of hard with today's music. Because again, like Travis Scott, he has the trap beats, but it's like halfway through the song, it's not trap. It's like something else. It's like pop, and then it goes to like back to trap, and then it's not. And I feel like a lot of music is like that now. It's kind of like shifting that way. And I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing to get away from trap. Because I mean, trap is cool, but
it'll eventually wear itself out.
Yeah, kind of like
editing and everything.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Because what I'm getting at, since I'm actually making the music, I can see it. I can understand if you don't see it because you're not making it. But if I were to make like a synthwave track, or if I were to make a progressive metal track, or if I were to make like a classical piece, I don't think formula. I'm just composing and see where it goes. If you would told me to make a trap song, there's a formula to it, and if I follow that formula, you guys ain't gonna trip. Okay. There really is.
Well, so
if
break it down a little more. So like, what would be the trap formula? So obviously it's like
the hi-hats have to be there's eighth notes at the least.
Right.
At the least, they're getting away from like the machine gun hi-hats. That's starting to the super fast ones are starting to kind of like wear out. But it's the consistent eighth notes, no changes in velocity. It's pretty much straightforward. Kicks on basic, not downbeats, but like the strong beats, wherever the chord, if there's any chord changes, or any 808s, basically. So just boom, boom, right? Very minimal. Claps are usually on 3. If it's slow, then 2 and 4. And then either just chords, just a simple melody, and that's about it.
Okay.
And you're good. And then your vocal, because apparently you need a lot of space for your vocalist.
Right. So can you construct or compose a live trap with us? So like, tell me what to play on this and this, and then he could play that with his mouse on this and that, and you could do the hi-hats, and we can make a live song. Acapella trap.
Play with my what?
Trapella.
Atrapella?
Atrapella. So all those elements, those instructions you gave us. So if I'm the 808, you said on 3?
That's a clap.
That's the clap.
Well, give me a tempo. I'm thinking. I'm hearing another beat in my head.
Depends how fast you want it. Anywhere from 130 to 150.
Okay, so 130.
Give me 142.
Okay, so I can give you 120. Because every march is
too
like
fast.
Every march is like 120. That's 120. That's all I know. So above that, so 130. What will be 130? Maybe here. Okay. So then claps on 3. Okay,
I
so
feel
now.
the trap already.
Alright, so now add the. I guess the 808. You add the 808s.
What do I do? Where
Well,
does
so
808 go?
he comes in on what? What'd you say?
On the 1 or on 4?
4.
1, 4.
Oh, well, when they do like that a lot of switching that.
Yeah, 1, the and of 2.
All right, I like the 1 and 4 for now. So 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, do that. Claps on 3. Okay, and then.
She was more like a beauty. I started doing the bass line. You didn't catch that? I started doing the bass line for Billie Jean.
I didn't catch it.
I started doing the because you know how it goes. Dun, 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 dun. I started doing the accent, the accentuated parts.
Yeah, I got you.
Dang.
But so is there no formula for synthwave songs? I feel like there's a basic blueprint for them.
Cause look at Scandroid.
True.
You've listened to Scandroid.
So maybe the blueprints for
there's blueprints for everything, but the thing is,
so maybe but not by form, maybe by sound. So like maybe there's a blueprint to the sound of synthwave, if you get me.
There's a concept, I guess,
or a concept. I like that word.
There's a concept to it,
which is like specific synth sounds, and maybe like the reverb snare that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like. Yeah, I would just say like there's certain genres that like say like a Slipknot album, like a metal album, rock album. How long do they take to make? Right? Versus like a trap song that if you're good enough you can make it in a couple hours. If that. If you even need that long. Mm-hmm. Like you can bust out like a hip hop album in un ratito. Listen to like say just like electro house. How different are most of the songs structure wise? They're all pretty similar.
Okay, so then what do you think like separates, let's say like a guy like Steve Aoki from like your local like LA producer? Like,
that's a good question.
So like if it's the same music, what separated him from anyone else?
I don't know, because if I knew that answer, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd have residency in Vegas. True. If I knew that answer, I wouldn't be here right now.
Because that's interesting. Like if you think about it that way, because like, you're saying it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like so, like why do we have Travis Scott?
It's still the same formula to creating a song, but obviously there's still gonna be different.
Because just look at all the trap artists that are out there. Mm-hmm. Why are some more famous than others?
Yeah. So now it's like. Not the meaning, but like the actual like.
It's how they morph the genre to their advantage.
Yes.
How they made like for example like Travis Scott, like it's lit, like that's his thing. Like
so that's what I'm saying. So now it's like the personal like.
Now take that formula and make it yours. Mm-hmm. I think that's the difference.
Like today it was like trending. Waka was trending on Twitter. I was like Waka. I thought they brought back the Waka.
Oh, I was thinking Waka.
But it was actually Waka Flocka.
Waka. Oh, look up.
And I forgot, he was like doing an interview, and he was like, "Yeah, I know I'm a whack rapper," and he admitted it. And they're like, "What? But why would you say that?" It's like, "Cause, like, I know I'm not the most skilled rapper. I was just doing this to get money." And he's like, "Yeah, like my stuff is like very basic and very, not the best. Like, cause there's obviously like people like Nas and like these other rappers that are actually very skillful." He was like, "Yeah, I know I wasn't skillful, but I was, but why people like my music and maybe thought it was good, it was because I personalized it, like I gave it like pizzazz, or I gave it a waka flocka. So like my music that I made, it just happened to be me in sounds."
So then it just becomes about the personal branding.
Yes, about like the music.
It's marketing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's like, because again, there's tons of people doing trap.
Right.
Why do some people get more famous than others? Mm-hmm. Right? If like, dude, like literally there's videos on YouTube that if you go how to make how to make house music in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So obviously music's not hard to make.
Right.
So what differentiates a YouTuber making YouTube videos versus someone in residency at Vegas? Right? But that's kind of what I mean. Like if you said, "Oh, making progressive metal in 5 minutes." Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's what I mean. Is because think of like all the mainstream music.
Yeah.
Like that they can just pump out in like a day or two.
Dang, and out of all of them, you said prog. That shit, that thing is so open ended.
There. What formula is there to prog? There isn't.
Because then you can say
signature changes every 2 bars.
Because then you can go, but wouldn't that be the formula? So like in prog music, you have
see,
to
now
do,
that I wouldn't say like, oh, the formula is to not have a formula. Then
well, I guess there's still a formula because you could formulate like bars, time signatures, and stuff like that. So then you.
That's just well thought out. I wouldn't say that's formulated.
Is it? Well, I mean, you don't have to be like, okay, in every like 16 bars, you got to put in like a 7-8 like bar in there. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like the formula is, okay, to make it prog, you have to put in different time signatures, or you have to like switch the.
I would say those are concepts, not formulas.
Okay.
Formula would be like, here's the A section, here's the B section, here's the A section again, here's the C section, here's the D section. Like that's what I mean by formula. Okay, like basically like in music theory.
Right.
Where you do like classical music, like Bach chorales, which is another reason I don't like Bach chorales because there's a formula to it. Right. When you do like music theory and it was our second semester, the whole fucking semester you do Bach chorales and you're told you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, you can't do this, you have to make sure it sounds like this, and guess what? Once you get all those rules, everyone makes their Bach chorales. You know what it sounds like? It sounds all the same. Yeah. And I fought my professors on this. I'm like, so you're telling me that Bach created these rules and then did his music that way? And they're like, no, it just came naturally to him. And I was like, well, then why are we studying it like a formula? Mm-hmm. He didn't see it as a formula. That's just what he did. Right. That's just what sounded good to his ears. That was just his sound. Mm-hmm. And if you're telling me that music is just expressing yourself, then why are we learning a formula?
True. So then I took the class in like a pedagogy class. I think it was my like last 2 semesters. So they were saying like, okay, so how should we teach like music to kids in high school? Like, what would be the pedagogy to like teaching the kids? Mm-hmm. Should we give kids like jazz classes, but then we teach them like how to play, like you have to play these blues like this, or you have to solo like this person like this, or we allow them to like do their own thing and be creative. I remember there was like
I would say the second one. Yeah. Give them the concepts to what makes blues. But how you apply it is up to you.
Because it might be a hot take for some people, but I personally don't think music should be taught in schools, because you kind of like kind of what you were saying. You're producing a formula. You're teaching these kids a formula of like, this is what this is, and it can only be this. Because you had a lot of what are those called? Elitists. Yeah. You have a lot of people that are like that, like specifically in jazz. It's like, no, like this is how you play it, and this is how you have to do it.
Elitist is a different topic. It's like I also don't agree with elitist.
And it's like okay, like what you said, like Bach thought of that or heard that was good to his ears. So. And I mean, and then it gets kind of like controversial because, for example, a lot of people don't. I'll just keep using Travis Scott, right? A lot of people think his music is trash, but that sounded good to his ears. So it's kind of conflicting because if you don't teach a kid like a formula, like okay, like this is the framework of music, and as opposed to being like this is an instrument, this is how you play it, go crazy. I think music is one of those things that if you want to do it, you need to go out of your way to learn it, because then it kind of waters down the skill and it makes it like
what does it?
Okay, so there's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
there's a slippery slope.
It standardizes things.
What
in my
okay? So
I
that's
think
where I agree with you. So I don't think we should standardize stuff. We should show them fundamentals.
But fundamentals. That's what I'm gonna get at.
So this is fundamentally how you play like a jazz song or maybe this type of song, but not like okay.
This is how you have to do it every time.
That's just where I'm.
It's like here's the framework. Here's your foundation. Here's just to so you have a firm like hold on the ground, so you can stand up straight.
Just so you know
what direction you go in is up to you from that point on.
Because you can argue that a lot of great musicians came from schools, but then you can make the argument that what they're learning came from people that didn't go to school at all for that.
Yeah.
So like jazz, like like the stories about jazz is that it was like bar music, it was like club music, it was like the lowest of the low, and then out of jazz a lot of genres emerged from it. So it's kind of like, do you teach it or is it something that you need to go out and get for yourself? And I personally think that if you want it, you're gonna chase it, because you can't like I said, like it kind of standardizes things.
I would say, because I've talked to musician friends a lot about this, right? And ultimately it could get very contradicting very quickly. Right away you can like believe one thing and then like say something contradictory, but it's kind of just like the whole idea is just so like it makes sense here, but it doesn't make sense here, right? So just so anyone's like, oh yeah, he said this, but then said that. It's like, but it's the situation. It's not black and white. There's a bunch of gray areas, right? I was talking to a friend that like I was realizing that the more music theory that I learned, the more I felt limited.
Yeah,
because again, for the same reason is that I started feeling like everything was standardized.
Yes. That you need to follow this road work.
That's what I didn't like.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have fundamentals, learn what it is that you're doing, how to speak it, learn your craft. If there's any additional things you want to learn, cool. But when you're being taught music, I don't like the fact that they're like, there's a right or wrong answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the part that I'm not a fan of.
I'm the exact same too.
I feel like you can learn it. I can tell you, look, Jack, this is a French augmented chord. Okay? This is how you typically use it. But to tell you that chord, you used it wrong.
Yeah. I feel
that's what I'm not a fan of.
Or why did you use that chord?
Why did you use that there? Why didn't you use it here? Like, I could have used it here. I could have used it there. I could have used it there.
Yeah.
There is no wrong answer to how I use it.
And then you could just say like, oh, because it felt good there.
Yes.
And then it comes to the like elite topic of like, well, that sounds wrong. And it's like, well,
that's the slippery slope. I had a composition class and I actually like had a verbal argument with my professor. Because it was like a piano piece with voice. So you had to write the piano part and you had to write a vocal part, right? I had kind of just like basically 2 arpeggios, but one with like quarter notes on the left hand on the lower end, and then eighth notes right around the middle. I had originally put it up high because the vocalist was pretty much right in the middle of the staff. But I didn't like it. It was too twangy, too whiny. So I put it in the middle. So the voice and the right hand were basically in the same register.
Okay.
Right? And the professor was like, it's kind of muddy. You know what? Put it up there in the top. And I was like, I didn't want to. And he's like, yeah, but it's going to sound better. I was like, to you. I'm the one who wrote it, not you. I tried it up. I didn't like it. I put it in the middle. I liked it. He's like, yeah, but then it sounds kind of muddy. To you.
There's that.
Tell me. I was like, he's like, yeah, but then like the voice and the it starts muddying up. You can't really hear the note. To you. I was like, show me a textbook that tells me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Show me the 10 commandments of music that says that I'm wrong.
Thou shalt not mud up the words.
Right? That's what I was like. I thought we could just write whatever we want. And you're just teaching us techniques that we can use. But I didn't know this was a this piece gets an 80%. What justifies 100%? Especially when you had the guy next to me write complete gibberish. Right? But then they would praise him. It was just like right? I was like, you're telling me that's music?
Hey,
right?
The voices were probably in the high register.
Right? I'm like, okay, if that's music, if that's acceptable, why isn't mine? I had chord progressions, right? I thought about like the harmonies and everything. This dude's a drummer. Okay? You tell me how melodic that was going to sound in the first place.
No
and
offense, drummers,
literally, there's only like a few drummers, but they're like, again, they're prog drummers that can actually compose music. But you can tell this dude like was just writing random shit because all his pieces were just random shit, but very avant-garde. But the professors were very avant-garde. So I was like, biased. You're biased because I use tonal music. And he uses atonal music. But they liked the weird shit, like the super weird shit. Right? And I'm like, but what makes their piece any better than mine? Not even tritones, dude, like 2 different key signatures at the same time. Right? But that's what pissed me off about that class is like, what do you mean it's wrong? What's wrong about it? If what he's doing isn't wrong, and he doesn't even have a key signature. It's literally random notes. Why is that not wrong, but what I did was wrong? True. That was always my beef with that class. But I think I gained his respect because he never like questioned my decisions after that point.
You started teaching the class?
Yeah. Yeah, but I got heated. I was like, what the fuck? Who are you to tell me I'm wrong? Like, it's literally like it's my track. It's my piece.
Yeah, so then that's how, with that whole story, I think I agree with you on like where your stance is, like teaching music to kids. So I think, not like you, I think they should teach kids music in schools, but just teach them like the fundamentals.
I think it should be like an after school thing. I don't think it should. But you're
still. I mean, it doesn't matter.
But now, because if you have it in your regular schedule, it's just another class. If it's after school, some kids might want to fuck off and go home. Some kids might want to go out of their way and do it.
Also, and the people, it's more of a commitment.
Yes, and the people who are actually going out of their way to do it, it might be more beneficial and it might be more worth it to them than to be one more class. Because I took art. Or maybe not art. That's a bad example because I actually still fucking do like some
choir.
Of that.
Choir.
There you go.
Choir.
Like, it's just another class. Like, how many of them are singers? Like no offense, like you know.
More, I think the better. Wait, what did you ask?
I said how many of them are actual singers?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Like 2.
Like how many of them are actual singers?
It was a choir of like 40 people, but only 2 can actually sing.
Now think about the kids that go to like Adderall. The kids that pay, like the parents pay good money for them to go to that school.
You can tell which one's paid.
And well, some of them, yeah. So some
you can tell which one's paid,
but that's still like they're going after it,
yes,
rather than just being just another class.
But then there's still, I think that's also like situational, cause then
is it though? Cause how many so. like out of your class, how many people are still doing music? Of band kids, the band kids that you played with, how many are still doing music?
Me, so one. But well, that's
and I'm saying so that, at that point it's more of an elective. It's just another class.
True, but that's how I still felt like in high school taking it. This was after like I graduated, where I was like, okay, I kind of like it.
So yeah, then maybe like it could be like like an introduction music class to spark the interest, because then because
that's where I'm saying where it could be situational, because there's could be kids who are like after class they want to maybe be in there but they can't.
So it was kind of like jazz, like the people who wanted to be like jazz one, like that was an after school thing. That was not a class. So like the kids that were in jazz one, they were actually going out of their way to do it, and a lot of them ended up actually being musicians.
Well, I would say just because you had to audition to get in that class, so even the people who wanted to be in the class maybe couldn't have been in it because they didn't cut it, didn't make the audition.
Sure.
Because there were still jazz 3s and 2 that was in school.
Yeah.
Like they still got to do the thing, just at maybe a minimal level, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like a jazz 2, I feel like it's I don't know. Maybe it's just my way of thinking, but I still see it like as another class. Like you you don't have to stay after school.
Because I think the way you're thinking of it is when they do it like at home, or maybe they had
like the people that get like instructors and they pay for private lessons. True. After like maybe like it's not right after school. Maybe it's like at 6 in the afternoon.
Or maybe just because like the way I'm seeing it is just because I think you have to like really like it, or else you're not gonna like.
And I also do agree, like you know, going back and forth, like you know, like you said, there's some points that are contradictory.
Yes,
I do like there has to be a place that is accessible for kids to be like, oh look, there's this thing, let me try it out. But then like if you really want it, that's where like that's my whole point. Like if you really want it, you're gonna have to go out of your way for it.
True.
Yes.
Because then it just becomes another class.
I think for yours, so maybe to like meet in the middle, I think there should be like a music introduction class. That's where like I think every school should probably have, just so people could get the exposure of like, oh, this is music, this is how you could like maybe get into this whole world. So if we're gonna teach it in school, I think at least give every school like a music introduction class. So like how everyone has like an art class. Yeah, because it's always available.
Because another hot take, there were a lot of waste of resources. There were a lot of kids that wasted resources from the band.
As far as like instruments, or
as far as like instruments, and as far as like kids not giving a shit.
True.
Like again, like kids that took it just as another elective.
I mean, low-key, like me even being like a musician now, and like I'm studying this, and this is like I'm like now I'm passionate about it. Like in high school, I just saw it as another class because I just hated like how much like. Or maybe this is just the way I view things. Like I'm very impatient, so like I don't want to have to like put so much work to like sound good. Why can't I just like be good at this? Yeah. And so that's where I got like, this is like so boring. Or even like going to college, like all the like the music history classes and like the piano classes and all that. It's very tedious, and I don't like that. Like let me learn at my own pace, or like or let me like figure it out, because now that I realize it, I learned more like me figuring out by myself.
So then maybe school wasn't the route for you.
No, but the school, the school gave you the framework.
Yes, but you could have maybe had a better outcome had you gone out of your way to do it.
Yes, but like I didn't have that drive to go out of the way to do it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what clicked like after I graduated.
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, you know what? There's like no pressure on me. Let me like now I could like figure this out like on my own pace.
Yeah.
And now I'm like actually liking it. Like that's why I kind of took a whole break from school after I graduated, or even from like playing music, was because like I felt like very pressured, and like I felt like how you said like everything has to sound like this, you have to sound like that, or you're not good, and it just felt like very.
Yeah, I feel you, which is why I'm not doing music anymore. Because after high school, it felt like the thing I liked felt like work.
Yeah.
Like a job. And then I took one class for graphic design just to like get my like feet in the water and see what it was about. I didn't go back to school, and I started doing it on my own.
Mm-hmm. See, okay. That's what I mean. As far as like the kids learning in music, like in high school, I think that at the very least, if you're not gonna go in depth, if you're not gonna go knees like just go neck deep in it, you should at least have that one graphic design class to get your feet wet, to know your fundamentals. And this is just a personal pet peeve, and I know that there's exceptions to it, but I feel like more often than not in the music, out of all the arts, right? If you're thinking like drawing, filming, making, or music and all that shit, right? I feel, again, I'm sure there's exceptions, but I feel more often than not in music, it's almost like taboo to know your craft. It's taboo to like know like music theory, even the most basic. Like if I asked you what a major scale is, and like there's these top-notch producers and musicians that just they don't know what a major scale sounds like. Right. They don't know what a minor scale sounds like.
For a second I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't know basic theory. They don't know their fundamentals is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Like if you asked them like how there's like Deadmau5. Mm-hmm. Look at all the hits he's put out. Doesn't actually play any real instruments. Right. He literally just on with the mouse just goes. Okay, there's a chord. Mm-hmm. What that chord is, I have no idea. It's just I press play and it sounds good. That's
fuck, dude.
That's the part where I'm like, I get it, but why is it that you can't just like at least know what it is that you're doing? Mm-hmm. Like if we were working on a track and I'm like, hey, can you play me a D minor chord? That's not crazy. Yeah. There's nothing insane about it. It's just a D minor chord. It's DFA. Boom. Yeah. That's it. Would he know what that is?
Probably not.
But
then,
sorry, go ahead. What I was gonna say, like maybe, like, what about if they would have known the theory, what you said, they would have felt limited.
No, but here's the thing: it's fundamentals. You can't tell me like someone who plays basketball feels limited by knowing how to properly dribble, but I feel like it's just different, though. No, but it isn't. It's fundamentals. I'm not saying you have to know. I'm not saying you have to know how to pivot chord into modulating into a different key. That's where I think things can get limiting. Okay. When you're going to like second, third, fourth semester theory. What I'm saying is, skills. At the very least, no first semester.
So there's some people like who can't even like know what notes they're playing.
Yes, like if you had them play a keyboard and be like, "What note is that?" I'm not even playing. Like, what note is that? Mm-hmm. They wouldn't know it, right? But I feel like it's almost like you're considered a nerd for knowing just the basics.
I see.
Or even just knowing, like, I'm not saying you have to be a music historian. I'm not saying you have to know when, who finished Mozart's funeral, or what was it, the death funeral or the funeral march. I'm not saying you have to know that. But I mean, if you at least know music from like the 80s, fuck, just know the history of your own craft. Like if you're doing music, at the least know like music like past like the mid 2000s.
And it's crazy because like you said, there's some people that don't know fundamentals at all, and they're producing like.
But then so then that
Like
gets back to, are they making music or are they just following a formula? Are they composers or are they just really good sound engineers? Right? Because like say like again, if we go back to like house music that I've been looking at tutorials, reading up on, musically there's not a lot going on. Musically it's not very complex. Where the magic is all the engineering, all the effects, all the automations, right? So all the editing. At that point, are you a composer or are you just a really good editor? That's what I'm getting at. So in music, I feel like sometimes like I'm just like, I'm not saying you have to have a doctorate in music, but like if I asked you play eighth notes, would you like, and you don't know what that is? Like,
no, fuck.
What the fuck is that? Why can't you? Why is it so taboo to just know the basics? I'm not asking you to be able to like listen to the Game of Thrones theory and write out all the pieces, all the instruments, handwritten on a staff.
Do you think it's that it's taboo or it's just ignorance?
I think I guess you can see it both ways. Yeah. But that's what I mean. That's what bugs me. Is that like at the very least,
are you bugged because like you had to like?
No, it's not because I had to do it.
Right.
It's more so just like understanding your own craft. Because I feel like actors, right? Sure, there's some that come out of like YouTube and shit, right? But I feel like a lot of the best actors have at least some kind of training.
True.
Even if you can say just like Sunday school at the rec center.
True. A lot of stand-up comedians, they have improv classes.
But that's what I mean. Classes. Like you at least learn something. I was on IG and I followed this one producer and their minds were blown because he produced a song in 3/4. You tell me as musicians, how crazy is 3/4? Not really that crazy.
1, 2, 3.
You go from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's not that. It's not in. And then that same producer was like, "Yeah, 3/4 is pretty much the same thing as 6/8," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
And people are like, "Whoa,
They're like,
math. He did math."
And then right, it's like if you get 3/4 and times it by 2, you get 6/8. Therefore, it's the same thing. It's like, no, it's not. And then people were on there's one dude commented, "What's the difference?" Dude, I wrote him like a 10-page essay as to what the difference between 3/4 and 6/8 is. Right?
Oh, I'm gonna need a link to that comment.
I don't think he replied. But he asked for an answer and I gave him an answer. Right? I'm like, why is it that people are just shocked by this? That, wow, dude, there's music that isn't in 4/4? That's insane. What's 4/4 again?
1, 2, 3, 4.
But what does the first 4 mean and the second 4 mean?
That there's 4.
There's 4 whats?
There's 4 beats.
What kind of beats?
Quarter notes.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah. So I think it's just.
What does 6/8 mean?
See, like
that's not crazy.
It hurts my head because I know it and I'm trying to think.
You're trying to think of like as a general like person.
Like
because I'm the same way with like with other stuff. So like with art. When like people mix maybe like these two colors, I'm like, whoa, that looks so cool, and then like, look at this guy.
What I told you guys earlier, like when I was like, oh, I can't tell if the Bad Bunny art cover is like a composite Photoshop or is an illustration,
But it looks cool.
and you guys were like,
if we did Photoshop, if we were fucking around with Photoshop and had no idea what you just said. Mm-hmm. Like, wouldn't you be like, hey, like aplácate, dude, like learn your basics. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing where it's just like it's your craft, dude. Like, be proud of it. Like, at least know your fundamentals. At
if
least
you're a musician.
Yes, if you're like whatever your craft really
Whatever
is.
your craft is, right?
Like you're telling me, like, say, like if we apply it to basketball, you're telling me Jimmy Butler doesn't know his fundamentals.
Basketball.
You telling me that like that he doesn't know the basics of basketball? No, he does.
I only know the L grip for threes all day.
Right? someone should teach Ben Simmons the L grip. But that's what I mean. It's just like, it's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, just like, you got plenty of time. Mm-hmm. Why is do re mi fa sol la ti do so difficult?
True. Not to play devil's advocate. If it's not broke, why fix it?
I'm with that too.
I guess, but it's a pet peeve. Yeah. It's a personal pet peeve. Okay. Is there a problem with it? No. But it's like, it's just more of like just like, it's more like a respect thing. I guess just like, if this is your craft, like at least know how to speak it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if I gave you like notes and you don't know what those are, I'm like a piece of me starts raging inside. Like I'm like, dude, how do you not know that? Right? And it's funny because you can be successful without it. I remember watching you know Roadrunner, it's a music label that does metal music. And one time they did an album called Roadrunner United, which is basically like, let's get all these bands and they make a whole album.
I have one of those. Oh, the album. One of the albums that I played on the way to Vegas was actually from that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, they had 4 captains, right? The label picked 4 dudes, and they were like, okay, you 4 make 4 to 5 songs, and pick different musicians per song. Right, so one guy will be like, okay, I want the guitars from this band, I want the guitars from this band, I want the drummer from this band, and I want the bassist from this band and the vocalist from that band, and they make one song, right? And they're like, okay, next song, I want him, I want him, I want her, and I want him, right? They basically did that. So every song is a different lineup. There was one of the captains didn't know any music theory of any kind.
Oh no!
And he picked a drummer who was a complete nerd.
Okay, I see the clash now.
Them trying to talk music,
right?
Was like, I was like,
it's like a Chinese and like a European trying to communicate.
Yes, it was, imagine a Chinese man and a Mexican trying to speak English to each other.
So this is my mom when she goes to the Filipino market every time.
Right?
Okay, as you're saying it, my head is hurting. Because I can imagine the frustration, because like let's say like Slipknot, they have their way of operating.
Yes.
Someone like Dream Theater, it's a radically like light years away different than how these people operate. Trying to merge them, it's just a big bang.
The captain was like, "Yeah, start from after ba da 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 ba." And the drummer's like, he's like, do you mean like the and of 3 in the 4th bar going into the 5th? And he's like, he's like, okay, look, okay, like 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2. And he's like, let's start from 3 2 3 4. Right? It was like, That's exactly how I feel like I would be the drummer in that situation, working with some popular musicians. Like, I would be like, can you start? I'll give you 2 measures. And you come in on the end of 1. That's where your phrase starts. What's that?
Oh, just feel it. Just feel it. You'll know when to come in.
Just feel it. I guess. Right? What's my note? You're on your the first note is F. What's an F? Can I go to the place of origin? Right? That's what I felt that conversation that happened. I felt it. I was like, dude, I'm the drummer in that situation.
Just as you're describing it, my head hurts.
That's what I mean. Is like, I can already feel my future being a lot of that.
And then you have like, it's crazy because then like we were in a cumbia band with one of our homies, Theos. Their band operated in a completely different way. They were like, just come in. Just do it.
Think of that band versus Grupazo. Versus a band of a bunch of like tios that just felt it versus a band of music majors.
Students, yeah.
Oh, dude,
I was kind of the same way with my band.
Oh yeah, right. You guys were half and half.
We were half people who were music and half the other guys who like they just knew it. Like it was just kind of like a second like language to them. So when they'll be like, yeah, just like aquí, like you're gonna play this note and do this, play like that. I'm just like, wait, like, give me a measure, give me a note, like what? He's like, how can like aquí en la and después, and I'm just like,
you got any sheet music for that? Right, but I but let's not go too far though. You don't have to get super technical, because then we had a homie in our band. I'm not gonna say his name. We had a homie in our band who would be like I'll be like, hey, this phrase, what note does it start on? He's like, it's just the fa of the key, right? I'm like,
okay, so,
I didn't even think of cumbia in those terms.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah,
so I was kind of wrong about them. So they weren't like music majors, but they knew music and like terminology, but just in that language, and like in fa, because that's how they learned it in Mexico. They learned it like everything by
there in Mexico.
Solfege,
it's all solfege,
yeah,
or fixed solfege.
So I just had to work a little harder to like kind of understand them. So like,
you had to remember that they were speaking in fixed.
Yes.
And we they work in fixed solfege while we learned in movable solfege. Yes. So let me try to clarify this.
Sorry.
Okay.
I got like Vietnam flashbacks.
Okay.
Me too, because I played in a church where it was the same thing.
Okay.
It was the same thing.
Here in America, they teach us movable solfege or movable do. Mm-hmm. Basically, whatever key you're in, the tonic or the first note of that key is do.
Mm-hmm. Always do.
But the do changes depending on what key you're in.
Right.
So if you're in C major, C is do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you're in D major, D is do.
Mm-hmm. But
in it's basically like, you can think of it like the imperial measurements versus the metric.
Right.
And a lot of places outside of America, in this case being in Mexico, they speak fixed solfege, which means C is always do.
Right.
Like do is never anything else. When someone tells you, hey, puedes tocar do, it's C.
Right.
Without a question. Yeah. There's no question. Doesn't matter what key you're in. So fa will always be F.
Yeah, always F. And they'll be like, so esto está en fa menor. I'm just like,
fa menor is F minor.
So I was like, okay, F minor. But then the song we're playing in is like in like B flat, whatever. So I was like, okay, wait, but B flat, fa. Well, I guess that's a bad example because fa is B flat or is F in B flat.
Is it?
No shit. No, okay.
That's a sol.
Yeah, so that I'm using. I forgot my sol.
See, and I had a headache because in Mexico, I learned it. I learned the static way, and then I had to learn the non-static way. I got my roots ripped off, planted them somewhere else. I went to this church, and then I had to like again, and I was so confused. I was like, look, I taught them music. I was like, these are your notes. Forget your do, re, mi, fa, sol. I don't want to hear that. We're in America.
Give me C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
And I actually like taught them how to like read music. I would write melodies and staff paper, and then like I actually helped them out. Mm-hmm. I helped them out how to figure out chords, because they were like, oh, and fa.
Yeah. And imagine being us as like being really in the shit of music and having just someone go fa, and you're like, what key though? Fa in what key? So yeah, sure. Like like I said, there's a gray area to all of this, right? So ultimately, it's my own personal beef, right? It's just shit that bugs me. And there's plenty of devil's advocates, and I'm sure that there will be.
It's because you're part of the elite.
I guess I'm an elite, but I don't feel like I am. Like I would disagree with the elitists, so I don't know where I'd be.
Certain parts where you are kind of elite, but then you're kind of.
I'm more of a fundamentalist.
I can see that.
I'm not gonna look. Remember when we were in Jazz 1, and we had a certain trombone player who played a really good solo, and we had a certain instructor who told him he was completely wrong.
Yes, I remember. Rest in peace, homie.
I was heated because I was like, "What the fuck do you mean he was wrong? What was wrong? Show me a textbook. Show me the equation that proves that what he played was wrong. It was a solo." He swung. It was in swing jazz. What was wrong? And he was like, he looked him dead in the eye. The instructor was like, everything you played was completely wrong. And I was like, what part of that was wrong? Where? Show me the textbook that says that what my homie played was wrong. Because me and a lot of other people were like, bro, that's your best solo to date.
I remember.
We were like, oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck whatever he says. You know, I'm not going to say what he looks like, but he's a funny looking dude.
You can say who he looks like.
Zimmerman. George Zimmerman. I don't know if you were, I don't know if you were in our he looked like that. But I remember being so mad, and I'm like, man, fuck that guy.
You know what's interesting? He one of my solos, like he told me, he like praised me for one of my solos. It was a complete bullshit solo.
Okay, so I was there. I know where you're
because it was one of the newer songs. I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at, so I was like, I'm just gonna play what may sound good, and I just went for it. And then he's like, dude, like your solos are getting better, and I'm like, thanks, thanks.
Right, that's where I was like. What he played his fundamentals, right? He, like, in the situation, he played like what was, I guess, needed for that situation, but he made it his own, right? He wasn't playing straight eights in a swing, right? He was still swinging. Maybe it wasn't like strictly to the style, but it didn't sound bad. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I don't.
But like say you're in jazz, I'm like, if you pull out a distortion pedal on your guitar and just start going like on right, it's like it could work, but not in this song. you gotta finesse this track.
Top 10 pranks at 1, 2, 4.
See, like Rob Scallon, I think is his name. Rob Scallon. No, he's a guitarist.
Rob Scallon?
Yeah, he's a guitarist. No. He plays like guitars with one string tuned really low. Genty, as the young people would say. It's called gent. But he made like a crossover of really heavy gent and jazz. But it sounds legit. But that's because he's like, you know, you finessed it in order to make it work.
Like Mr.
He is a guitar player. I
told you.
A bassist.
Mr. Bunghole.
Mr. Bunghole. Right? But who are you? Are you going to tell me that Mr. Bungle's wrong?
It's in the spectrum.
But he's not wrong. But they're not wrong. Mr. Bungle's not wrong. You may not like it, but they're not wrong. And it's like, but you can't tell me that Mr. Bungle, the people in Mr. Bungle don't know their shit.
They probably do.
They probably do.
They probably do know more than most. Like a lot of people don't like Frank Zappa because his shit's weird. And I'm like what you said. I mean, to you, it sounds good to me. Like, yes. I fucking love Frank Zappa. And like a lot of people are like, bro, like it's trash. And I'm like, and we have a friend who doesn't like Pink Floyd, who thinks they're absolute garbage.
I personally don't like Pink Floyd either.
And I mean, they're not.
But it's more like a style choice. I'm just not a fan of their
it's like they're not the best band out there, but like some of their shit sounds cool. And I'm like there's some tracks I'm like, oh, I fucking dig that.
See, yeah, okay, so at that point I'd go to style. Okay, I get it. That's more of a personal preference.
Because then, like, some people swear by the Doors. I'm not a huge Doors fan, Led Zeppelin until like recently. I started liking them. I started like I gave them a try in high school, and I was like, no, they're not for me. And then maybe like a year ago, I randomly played. I think that it's called the Immigrant Song. And then I played it, and I was like, and I was like, ooh. I was like, have I heard this before? And I'm like, oh shit, wait, it's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, you're an immigrant.
That part's gonna get blurred out.
We're gonna blow that part out. I had to take it. But okay,
keep going.
okay. So as far like say like a band like Periphery. Right? It's a metal band. You don't know.
I love Periphery.
Tú no tienes cultura, but that's why.
I know heavy metal bands.
Right. It's a progressive metal band. They play very complicated shit. At least according to them, they don't know any music theory.
That's crazy.
Right? But where I will make the exception is that they're playing instruments. They're not programming anything. They're not like, I like this chord. Let me just draw it out. Let me just like, okay, yeah. Cool. They know the chords. They just don't know what they're called. Yeah.
And
right?
The complete opposite would be like Animals as Leaders.
They're technical as fuck. They know their shit.
Yeah.
All of them know their shit.
They're more technicality than people.
Yes. They like, I had an argument with one of my friends who's like, the main guitarist Tosin Abasi in Animals as Leaders, he's like, no, he's self-taught. I'm like, bullshit, he ain't self-taught. If you look at any tutorials, he's like lining out chords and saying where the passing tones and leading tones into the next chord. I was like, no one knows that unless you went to the music school. Like, you don't just learn that.
Yeah.
Like knowing like, yeah, I'm playing the F sharp minor add 9 add 11 and and I'm playing with the 6 that leads into the next chord. Like if you didn't go to music school, you don't know that shit. I don't even know that shit. And I went to music school.
Taught it by himself by looking on like.
I doubt
classes.
it. I doubt it.
Like,
it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, because that's too much like.
Because at a certain point, you need someone to teach it to you to get a good understanding of what it is, right? But the Periphery dudes is where it's like, that's like the gray area where it's like, yes, they don't know their theory, but I think it's more so that they just don't know the names of it. Yeah. But I'm sure if you told them, these are the notes, this is the scale, this is what that chord is called, they're actually playing it though. Is where I think I draw the exception, is like they're actually playing it on instruments. Yeah. Versus like in FL Studio, there's literally a chord button. You go to chord and you put F minor 9, or you put minor 9, and you just click on a note on the thing, and it just puts a minor 9 chord. And I'm like, how about you just learn the damn chords in the first place?
Does the guy from Polyphia? He doesn't look like he knows like
that. I don't know. I don't know about the Polyphia guys.
Like I'm going based on his look. He does not look like he knows his theory, but I don't know.
He might,
because their music's legit.
The bass player, like I saw one tutorial where he's playing with a pick on the low strings, but then.
Are we okay?
We're back. Sorry.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. But I kind of just wanted to go. Which one is the guy you think that doesn't? Like
the guy with the guitar on the right.
Kobe, where's the beat?
That's not Kobe. Kobe doesn't play guitar.
Which one? The black guitar or the red guitar?
Black guitar.
Okay.
Because I follow him on Instagram.
Yes.
And no offense, but he looks very trust fundy. He lives the life of Gucci and Versace and luxuries. Which is not to say that, like people like that can't go to school and study, but his Instagram is very much filled with like swag and money. That I feel like, oh, this guy just he hung out with his friends and he picked up a guitar and now he makes badass music. Like kind of like he has good ears. Mm-hmm. It's more of a praise to his ears than anything else. And who knows? He might know his shit. He might know his shit.
Cause that dude's insane.
Yeah,
that dude's fucking crazy.
He's crazy as hell. And, you know, like he's a good looking cat. So like,
he's very K-poppy.
Yeah.
Right.
Is he Asian?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
He looks like those white people that look kind of Asian-y, but they're not. That always trips me out.
Like, I thought Vince was Asian.
Really?
I thought he was Asian.
Interesting. But he's not.
But he's Hispanic. He's from Kentucky.
He told us that. Yeah. He's technically from La Raza, but he would say it that way.
La Raza. Yeah, like
he would say La Raza.
You would never guess that he was like Hispanic. That's why I thought he was Asian. But he's not.
He's brown, but that's the only Mexican thing about him. Is his skin color.
Imagine him but brown. That's kind of what he looks like. Which I thought he was like, you know, maybe like Filipino.
Okay, I could buy Filipino.
Pacific Islandery. But never Hispanic. And then we figured out that he's Hispanic. Once we found out his last name, we were like...
He's technically Hispanic.
What's his last name?
Oh, we can't say last names.
What's his first name?
Vince. Well, it's Vicente, right? Is it Vicente?
Vincent.
Oh, it's Vincent. We'll disclose it off air, but this guy's insane. His music's legit as fuck.
There's one song that came out, like one of their most recent songs, probably of last year.
Goat.
Was it that one?
Was he in the church? Were they playing in the church? No.
It might be wherever that. No, that doesn't look like it's from a video.
I didn't even notice the glass of wine.
He's fancy.
He's fancy.
One of you guys showed me
James Franco.
Might have been one of us.
James Franco.
Maybe because you played it in the car. I was like, "Ooh, who's this?" And then you told me
it was either me or We Stand as a Line.
It might have been Adrian.
Yeah. Wait, his name is Tim Henson.
But I like whatever Tim Henson of Polyphia for DiMarzio Notorious Neck.
Well, that's the neck of the guitar. Well, you think he's I got a new surgically attached neck.
It's not a brand. It's like a branch of Ibanez.
You're close. Yeah, because he says middle and bridge pickups.
Yeah,
those are all just guitar parts.
I didn't read that part. I just read neck, so I was like, he is looking kind of neck.
Kind of necky.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so I think we got a good podcast in today.
Yeah, I think I really like your guys' choice of clothes branding.
Oh shit! We started with that.
Look, that's the beauty of us.
You never know where we're gonna take this.
The starting line is here.
We started with clothing brands and Jersey Shore, and we ended up in a very in-depth discussion about music and music production.
Seminar. See, like we might say, let's go get tacos, and we might end up like in Israel.
Getting like pita bread and stuff.
Yeah, like
is that where pita bread's from?
I thought.
Is that right?
Well,
no, is that like, what's naan? No, naan is Indian. No, is it
pita bread? I thought it was like a Middle Eastern thing, which is kind of technically where Israel is at. No, it is Middle East, right?
Yeah.
Israel.
Israel is
trying to end the podcast.
Well, it's because you started with pita bread, so I'm like, where's pita bread from?
Wherever
Jamie would have the technology.
Wherever pita bread is from, I think it's where hummus is from, and hummus is like somewhere in the Middle East. Hummus, if I remember.
Hummus is disgusting. That's what it is.
You're not getting the right type of. Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Pita.
That's the animal.
Damn it.
Where's the place? Can you tell me the place of origin?
American.
Place of origin.
Guerrero. I think those are from Mexico.
Make the.
Middle East, Mediterranean. See, I thought that Mediterranean.
Yeah, but
Middle
like,
East.
what about like zoinks?
Arabic bread or Syrian bread?
Yeah, because I know there's pita bread in these areas, but I don't know what specific like regions.
Because I know.
Arabic,
I know
Is
you
that what
can-
euros are made out of?
pita dough.
Yeah, pita dough. What are euros made out of?
I'm pretty sure paper.
Those are Greek, no?
Wait,
euros. Not like the currency.
Yeah, money.
No. Or guiro. I don't know how you spell. Like G Y.
gyros?
Is that how you say? Because I've heard like 3 different pronunciations for them.
Euros?
Yeah, I've heard euros before. I feel like Arby's said euros once.
Wait, what is this?
Gyros.
Gyros.
Okay,
Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Pita bread,
Arabic.
Arabic, Syrian, Greek. I know more from Greekish. That's
Oh,
what
Greek
I'll go down.
pita.
History.
Oh.
Prehistoric flatbreads, Middle East. I don't know.
Stone Age,
Ooh.
Natufanya,
Oh,
Yuan,
really?
Mesopotamia, Babylonia.
Yeah, it's
Charles
alright.
Perry. See, the homie
Yeah,
Charles Perry was the.
that general area.
Okay, so that was
Tandoor
racist.
bread is another thing.
Because I know like you can get like wherever they sell hummus, you can get pita bread. Because at Disneyland,
Oh, look at that.
they
Pita
sell.
can be used to scoop sauces or dips
Yes.
such as hummus.
That's what I was gonna say.
See, look that. Keep going.
Gyros.
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 How do you pronounce?
Can you read that phonetic? Gyros. There's a J.
Pronounce turn.
They could use for tacos del pastor.
Ooh. Shawarma. All right.
Shawarma.
For also for kebabs, no?
Yes.
Oh, they're from the land-based
Oh, so
kebab.
it's just like a little sandwich.
It's like a tortilla. Think of it like a pupusa almost. That's what it is. It's like a thick tortilla.
Nice.
But it's
so
good.
I don't. See, look, where it says euros, gyros, lit. They're turned. Gyros.
Dude, we're gyros, bro.
We're lit. See, but look, that's why I was saying euros because it's with the they have it with the Y.
Oh, okay. I've heard gyros.
Oh wait,
But yeah,
doesn't-
wait before I fucking get cut off again. At Disneyland, they sell little cups of hummus, and they came, you know, like those yogurt things where it's like you can detach it, and then it's like the cereal and the yogurt. It was that, but like little like pita like chips to dip on your hummus, 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 on your.
Hey fool, I got some pita bread right here.
For your homies.
Alright, wait. We'll end it on this pronunciation. Ready? It might be loud.
Okay. Gyro.
Gyro.
Oh, I didn't hear shit. Watch.
Okay.
Play, but wait. No, you gotta experience it.
Oh. Oh, your head's is like.
Yeah. All I heard is.
It said gyro.
Gyro.
Well, maybe because there is.
Okay, so we were both wrong.
But there's a separate word like that's not food related, like gyro, like gyro.
Like Kilimanjaro?
Like a gyroscope?
Yeah, like that.
Iridocyclitis.
Okay,
Gyrocyclitis? Gyrocyclitis?
finish this. All right. If you guys wanna like watch us do our next podcast in Fa, stay tuned.
Wait, is that in fixed or in like?
It's fixed.
Yeah. So and on that podcast we're gonna be speaking in Fa.
If it was movable, we would say the fourth scale degree of the given key.
Yes. Anyways, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Better Things.
Music school wasn't a complete waste of time.
Better Things to Do is our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and like and comment on all that.
Right here. Social media.
Social media will be in the description.
Social media is right here. That's right here.
They're putting it there.
It's my baby.
there.
Make sure to leave a comment and just like if you whatever topics
text
you want us to talk about,
better
or
move
if you
with
like
me, too.
any what we're talking about.
It better be movable.
If you made it this far,
After Effects, bro. Easy.
Easy.
explosion.
You better add an explosion then.
All right. Actually, what was I gonna say?
That's a good question.
What were you gonna say?
What was I? I got like really excited. I don't know.
You mentioned social medias. Put comments down below, maybe.
Give us a like. Oh, click on the little bell, the notification bell, to make sure you get a notification every time we do upload.
I've heard people say "ding the dong," and I kind of like that.
Ding or dong.
Ding or dong.
Ding or dong. If you're a true homie and you wanna get some pita bread on you,
You're homeless.
All right. And now we're gonna end it.
Holla at your homies.
We're gonna end it.
Ew. Holla at your homies. Ew. Gross.
Yeah,
All right, we're out.
Peace.